But you have to pass the test of being faithful where you are. Being your best with what you have. Then the next step will be a favor step, a promotion step, a healing step, a breakthrough step. When Joshua and the Israelites came to the Jordan River, there was no way to get across. They had heard how Moses held up his rod and the Red Sea parted. I'm sure Joshua thought the same thing would happen for him. But God had a different plan. He told Joshua to go tell the priests to walk into the river and then the waters would part. I'm sure the priest thought, Joshua, that doesn't make sense. You want us to walk into the water? We could drown. The priest got up to the shore and nothing happened to the water. They got a couple feet from the bank, still nothing. Thoughts started telling them, what if it doesn't part? What if Joshua made a mistake? What if you get out there and you can't come back? They could have talked themselves out of it. Instead, they dared to step into the unknown. The scripture says, the moment their feet touched the waters upstream began to pile up. On the other side, it flowed downstream. Before long, the whole riverbed was empty. They were able to walk across on dry ground. Notice the miracle happened along the way. We think, God, part the river and then I'll go. God says, go, then I'll part the river. If you will step into the unknown along the way, you'll see miracles. Along the way, the right people will show up. Along the way, doors will open that you could have never opened. God could have just as easily parted the waters before they stepped in. He was showing us this principle. When you don't see how it can work out, every voice says you better play it safe, but you take that step of faith and do what God's asking you to do, you too will see Jordan rivers part. And God on purpose puts us in situations where we can't do it on our own. It looks impossible. That's a test of our faith. If we stay in the boat, we'll never walk on water. We'll never see the fullness of our destiny. If God would have parted the water first, that would have been a lot less stressful for them. They wouldn't have had the stress to pray and believe. Here's the key. God uses the journey to get us prepared for where we're going. When you have to stretch your faith, believe that He's making a way, thinking that things are changing in your favor, your spiritual muscles are getting stronger. You're developing a greater trust, a greater confidence in God. When we received word that this place, the former Compact Center, where the Rockets used to play basketball, was coming available, something came alive on the inside of me. I knew this was supposed to be ours. What I didn't know was how complicated it would be trying to apply. God will give you the first step, but He won't tell you everything. I was excited about the possibility of moving Lakewood here. This was more than I could ask or think. But what I didn't know was it was going to cost $100 million to renovate. I didn't know a company would file a lawsuit to try to stop us. Sometimes it's good to be naive. That's called having childlike faith. All I knew was that dream was alive in my spirit. And I did what I'm asking you to do. I stepped in to the unknown. This facility is owned by the city of Houston. My parents and our family, we knew the mayor. I called him, and the mayor was in favor of Lakewood having it. The first miracle. We needed 10 votes from city council members. We only had 9. But the night before the main vote, a council member, after being against us for 2 years, suddenly changed his mind and voted for us, and we got the building. Another miracle. A week later, a large company filed a lawsuit to try to keep us from moving in. We were told it could be tied up in the court system for up to 10 years. Here I'd already announced it to the church. People had given funds. I would wake up in the middle of the night sweating. Thoughts telling me, Joel, you're going to look like a fool. There's going to be a big mess when you have to give it all back. But like Joshua, along the way, miracles kept happening. The CEO of this large company flew in from out of town to meet with us. We were told by our attorneys that it was a ploy just to confuse things. But he said, Joel, I watch you on television. My son-in-law is a youth pastor. Let's work something out. 2 days later, we had an agreement. The lawsuit was dropped. we were on our way. When you go out not knowing, you'll see Jordan Rivers come. You'll see compact centers fall into place. God will make things happen that you could never make happen. Don't get stuck in the dark. Don't let the fear that you can't see all the details hold you back. You're not supposed to see everything. God's leading you step by step. When you're in the unknown, you have to stretch, pray, and believe. That's when you're really growing. Those 3 years we were in the battle over this place, that's when I learned to pray like I had never prayed. If I'd known how long it was going to take, how much it was going to cost, I'd have said, no thanks, God. I don't want that responsibility. I'm too young. I don't have the experience. God knows what's in you. He uses these steps to stretch you, to develop you, to get you prepared for the next level. The journey is more important than the destination. Because if you don't get prepared on the journey, if you don't learn what you're supposed to learn along the way, you won't be able to handle where God is taking you. See, God could have given us the compact center the first week we prayed, or at least the first month we prayed. That would have saved me a lot of stress. I wouldn't have had to stretch, pray, believe. Why did he wait 3 years? He was getting me prepared. I was learning to trust him. My faith was being increased. My character was being developed. What's interesting, in those 3 years, like the lady on the GPS, I never heard anything new. I never heard God say, don't worry, Joel, I got you covered. It's all going to work out. I had to trust him when he was silent. I had to believe he was in control when I didn't see any sign of it. I had to keep reminding myself the steps of a good person are ordered by the Lord. I took that step knowing that God put the dream in my heart. I didn't know how it would turn out. I didn't know if we'd be successful. But I believed I was doing what God asked me to do. Here's the key. Even if you miss it, even if it doesn't turn out the way you thought, God knows how to use it for your good. God would rather you take a step of faith and miss it every once in a while than to play it safe your whole life and never make a mistake. And the times we make mistakes, we miss it. We get off course, the closed doors. That's all a part of God's plan. That's getting us prepared for the open doors. But if you're so concerned you're going to miss it, you'll never get off a dead center. I like what my friend Joyce Meyer says. She was praying. She said, God, what if I miss you? God said, Joyce, don't worry. If you miss me, I'll find you. But sometimes we let the fear of the unknown hold us back. Being in God's will, there will be a not knowing factor. You're not going to know all of the details, how it's going to work out. You have to have this boldness to step in to the unknown. This is what my brother Paul did. You know, he's a medical doctor. For 13 years, he was the chief of surgery at a hospital in Arkansas. He had a successful practice. It looked like that's how he was spending his life. But when Daddy died in 1999, Paul felt the Lord leading him to come back home to Houston to help us pastor the church. His colleagues thought he was having a midlife crisis. They told him to wait at least a couple of years, get over my father's death, not make an emotional decision. But deep down, Paul knew that's what he was supposed to do. In his mind, it didn't make sense. Leaving the medical practice, thoughts started telling him, what if it doesn't work out? What if you don't like it? What if they don't like you? What if you get out there and Joel makes fun of you all the time? In the natural, it seemed like he was making a mistake. But like Abraham, Paul went out not knowing how it was going to work out. He didn't have all the details. He didn't have a 10-year strategy. All he knew was the first step. Go back home and help your family. What Paul didn't know was how the ministry was going to work. He didn't know that after 8 years of helping us faithfully pastor the church, God would open the door for him to go to Africa several months at a time and operate on less fortunate people. That was his dream, to do medical missions. He thought he was walking away from medicine. What he couldn't see, it was all a part of God's plan. If he had not stepped into the unknown, he wouldn't have reached the fullness of his destiny. When you have this boldness to go out not knowing, your life will be more rewarding, more fulfilling than you could ever imagine. There was a young Jewish girl in the scripture named Esther. She was an orphan. She had come from an influential family. God raised her up. Now she was the queen living in the palace. A man named Haman tried to secretly pass a law to get rid of all the Jewish people. Esther's uncle came to the palace and told her of the plan. Said, you got to go in and tell the king what's going on. The problem was, in those days, if you approached the king without him holding up his golden rod, then you could be killed. Esther said, I can't do that. What if he doesn't hold it up? That would be the end of me. God was asking her to step into the unknown, but the what if started coming. What if he doesn't hold it up? What if he's in a bad mood? What if he gets upset? Just when she was about to talk herself out of it, her uncle said, Esther, if you remain silent, deliverance for the Jews will come from someone else, but you and your family will perish. And who knows but that you've come to the kingdom for such a time as this. God was saying, Esther, if you don't want to do it, that's fine. I'll get somebody else. But the problem is, Esther, you will miss your destiny. This opportunity